Hello. Just some more crazy stuff I dreamed up. Well, looks like I'm alive. Hello, Luann. How are you today? Good to see you. I've been playing around with some more crazy stuff on Streamyard. When I have to sit home and I get bored, I do all kinds of crazy stuff. Hey, how's it going, Asgard Studios? I've been sitting home being bored, and so I've been doing some crazy, crazy stuff. Um, I've been playing with a little integration of Wirecast and Streamyard, and you can do some really funny stuff like this and like this. You can't do that with StreamYard directly, but with you integrate it with Wirecast, you could do all kinds of crazy things. I hope y'all aren't cooped up inside like me, getting bored. Bored the new normal? Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh me, it's been cloudy and rainy here for about 3 days, and there's not much to do outside when it's like that. So I've been sitting inside playing around with my computers and with Wirecast. And Wirecast has a free titler with it called New Blue FX Titler, and you can do all kinds of crazy titles in it. And if I set it as a camera going into StreamYard, then anything I do on Wirecast shows up here. So this is one of the crazy titles they have. Just a couple of them I played around with, but they seem to work mostly. I just wish I could had a more way to change the color on the titles. They have certain ones of the backgrounds. I wish I could change the background. Cold, wet, and windy. Yeah, it's been too windy to fly drones here for like a week and a half now. I checked the other day, and at 200 feet, they were getting winds gusting to 55 miles an hour, which is just crazy. Today, it's pretty calm. If it clears up, I hope to go out either tomorrow or Wednesday and take both my drones and my video cameras and take some pictures of some wildflowers, because we've got some really good wildflowers starting to come out now down here. And Wednesday afternoon, it's supposed to be 90 degrees, so summer's here. Hey, a bird in the hand, how you doing? Okay, if you can cook and listen, that's great. Popping in and out's fine too. I was just showing these people what you can do, some crazy things with another program I've been using, like these crazy titles. You can't do it normally, but with the other program I have, whatever you do on there, if I use it as a camera input into StreamYard, then whatever I do over there shows up on StreamYard too, which is pretty cool. Yep, there's not much up, so I guess all of us are sitting home getting bored. Oh me. Yeah, I've always been a tinkerer. I like to play around with anything to do with computers and anything to do with video and I have a lot of interests actually. I also ride motorcycles, which we haven't been able to do because of the bad weather, and so I've been cooped up in the house way too long. So I started messing around with this today, and I thought I would see if it really worked, and it looks like it's mostly working the way I expected it to. Um, I have a green screen background here, and if I want to change it, I can change it, and it changes. I'm sitting in front of some of the wildflowers that we got a few weeks ago. I'm hoping to get a bunch more like this, either tomorrow or Wednesday. So at least I'll be getting out of the house for a while. I'm going stir crazy sitting around here. I could put a drone up today, but there's not much to see around my house. It's all open with trees and a few houses. My nearest neighbor to the west is about a quarter mile away. My nearest neighbor to the east is about a mile away, so there's not much going on. Let me see if I can do this. I don't know if I can. It'll probably mess things up, but I can see if I can show the other screen where I'm playing around with. Yeah, this is actually the screen in the other program where I'm changing the backgrounds. If I change this, let me see here. If I do this one and then do this one, it should go live over on my other one. And it did. And then the other program, which has to do with the titles, is the one where I put the crazy titles on. Anyway, I got about 3 things running at once here. Just anyway, that's what I've been playing with today. Michael Blade, how you doing today? How's things up where you are? Is it still messy weather up there? Yeah, there's so many people that are having to stay home and quarantine, and others that are just sort of having to stay home because of the weather. It's just kind of crazy. Actually snowing? Wow. Maybe you need to come down this way. Day after tomorrow, it's supposed to be 90 degrees down here. Summer's going to get here before we know it down here. It's been fairly warm but rainy for the last few days. This morning when I got up, it was 66, but it's been cloudy all day, and it's only up to 72 here now. That background picture, bird in the hand, is one I took years and years ago when I went to Arches National Monument. That's called the cathedral behind me. It had some really pretty plants in front of it, and you can see a long way down that canyon. Michael Blade, you haven't had any snow all winter. Now it's spring and snowing. That's some crazy weather. I'm glad I'm down here. At least I can handle 90. I'm used to it. We can get inside in the air conditioning. Yeah, 90 usually occurs late in the afternoon, like around 5 or 6 o'clock. So it's not that hot all day. But yep, I was just yeah, I kind of like that photo too. I had my camera. I think this was back in 2010 is when I was there, so it's about 10 years ago. My sister and brother-in-law and I took a trip out to Seattle to see our other sister one year, and we stopped in a bunch of the national parks and took pictures and had a good time on the way up. No, Michael Blade. It's at Arches National Monument, National Park. It, I'm not sure where it is exactly. It's I'm thinking maybe Utah. It could be in Arizona. We went through New Mexico and then up into Colorado and across. I think it's Utah. And then we went across the corner of Utah, and then we got up through Idaho and across to Seattle that way. So I don't think it would have been in Arizona. But Philly Drone Life, I don't know where he's been, Michael. He's been keeping a pretty low profile lately. This morning he was on Canadian Drone Hub for a while. He was on there live streaming with them. But he's been keeping pretty low profile. I don't know. He's flown his drones a few times, and he's only been on the treadmill once or twice at least that he's live streamed. I was on with him once the other day. I think it was I guess it was Saturday morning. I was on with him on my treadmill. We were doing dual treadmills. But he kept asking me what my treadmill was saying on distance, and I kept slowly speeding it up and getting ahead of him. He didn't like that much. Drone Bum, you don't know who Philly Drone Life is? He's the one that wears that crazy goofy hat when he's live streaming on Canadian Drone Hub. How you doing up where you are? Is it still bad weather up there, or is it clearing up any? Yeah, I've been showing these people what some crazy crap I've been playing with. Being bored at home, like I can put up crazy titles on Streamyard now by going through another program. But yeah, I got bored and was staying home because it was rainy outside and couldn't do much, and so I started playing around with computers again. And you know me, when I get bored, I'm liable to do anything. So I was trying to see if I could make StreamYard do something it's not supposed to do, and I got it to do what I wanted to do. It's just weird and crazy, but anyway, it rain. Still raining up there where you are? Well, Michael Blade said it's been snowing where he is. I was just telling both it's supposed to be 90 here on Wednesday afternoon, so summer is approaching down here. It may eventually get up there where you are. Oh, me. Yeah, I was just bored out of my skull, so I started playing around with 3 different programs, and I got them all to work together, sort of. Yeah, StreamYard is a pretty interesting program. It's one of the easiest ones that I've found to go live with. You know, it's one of the most friendly ones to use. A lot of people were using Zoom for quite a while, but you had to go live on YouTube. You had to go through another program to get it to work. It's primarily made for just having meetings. But Streamyard is really nice. It's got a lot of new features, and they keep adding them. That banner running across the bottom, I couldn't figure out how to do that anywhere, but I finally found it by accident. What I did was I have some banners like this at the bottom, and they're just static. But I found out if you type in too many words for the banner, it'll make a ticker tape. But there's nowhere in StreamYard does it tell you how to do that as far as I've been able to find. Luann, it's raining where you are too? Yeah, I guess we've had some pretty widespread rain because it's been raining here for the last 3 days. Today's the first day it hasn't rained. Just been cloudy all day and damp. It was foggy this morning. Yeah, Michael Blade, I've been doing a lot of TV watching too, but it drives me crazy after a while. I have a few tongue tangle. I have a few shows that I watch all the time, but I record them and I watch them when I get some spare time. I'll have to look up that Ozark, see if it's any good. I've got an Amazon Fire Stick. I can watch all kinds of things like that on it. It's hooked into my wireless. Yeah, it's been some crazy weather this year. A lot of crazy things going on this year. Oh me. Yep. Crazy, crazy stuff. Well, anybody else have anything you'd like me to talk about? I know a few things about a few things, but not a lot about anything. One thing I do know is I normally ride motorcycles with a group of old guys. They're kind of like me, anywhere from 60 to 75 years old, and so we're prime targets for that virus that's going around. But typically what we'd do is we'd get out and go for a ride through the Texas Hill Country and find a nice restaurant, sit down and have a lunch, and then ride home. Usually 185 to 200 miles round trip. Well, you can't sit down in restaurants and eat anymore, so we don't really have many places to go. Aha, cool. Multitasking. I've done that before. I was on with Philly Drone Life one time, and I went live watching him, and he saw me live watching him. It about freaked him out. That was the first time I was involved with any live streaming when he was live streaming, and somebody told him I was live streaming watching him live stream. But I was bored that day too. Michael Blade, actually have 3 drones. A bunch of years ago, I bought the old Mavic Pro, which was a great drone, and I had it up until last year. I found a good deal on Mavic 2 Pro with smart controller, and I bought that. I love that drone. Boy, the video out of it is something else, especially if you run it in the H265 10-bit mode. I have not found anything that'll do better than it. And then last December when the Mavic Mini came out, I ordered a Flymore combination to carry in my motorcycle, and I do that. A classic Suzuki 750 42. Wow, that's old. Wow, that does it still run? I have a 2008 Goldwing that I ride around. I bought it used a couple of years ago. It's got 115,000 miles on it, but that's not much for a Goldwing. They'll run forever if you take care of him. The highest mileage one I know of that a guy had 500,000 miles on it, and he never had the engine taken apart, original engine. So if you take care of them, they'll run forever. Mileage is not that big a deal on Goldwing motorcycles, but some of the other ones it is. Yeah, I've had bikes since I was a kid too. I've been riding motorcycles for, let me see, almost 70. It'll be 70 years this year. Because back when I was a kid, growing up, if you had a two-wheeler that had less than 5 horsepower in Texas, you didn't have to have a license to ride it. And I had an uncle that had a motorcycle shop, and Harley Davidson made a 165cc single cylinder motorcycle that had 4.7 horsepower. It had the big wheels and it had the shape of a motorcycle. It didn't look like a scooter, but I found one of those that somebody had taken apart. Never put it back together, so I picked it up for almost nothing. And my uncle and I put it back together when we had spare time when I wasn't helping him in the shop on weekends. And I drove the thing all over the place till I was old enough to get a license. And then I bought a little bigger one, a 250cc one, and then one of my neighbors had a brand new Harley Sportster that he'd bought, and then he was in the middle of getting a divorce, and so I took over payments on that. I rode it for a lot of years. I had Harleys most of the time up until 1983. In 83, I bought my first Goldwing and kept it 17 years, and then I bought another one in 2000. And then 2 years ago, I bought this 2008. So I've been riding motorcycles almost forever. Hey, Michael Blade, you got eyeballs from Ken Heron? Cool. That ought to keep the birds away. I've never had a problem with birds except for one time when I was doing a little video in a little church out in the middle of nowhere. There was 3 hawks that came around and started circling around looking at that drone. And somebody had told me that hawks and birds of prey can dive real fast, but they can't go up fast. And the way to get rid of them is to go up real fast. And I had my Mavic 2 Pro, and I just hit the up, and that thing will go up really fast. And as soon as it got above them, they took off. They scattered like you wouldn't believe. Because once you get above them, they think it's another prey over them, and they get out of there. At least that's what I've heard, and it sure worked that time on those 3. Yeah, I bet Harleys are expensive. Well, they're expensive over here too, new ones. I could never afford a new one. That's why I didn't buy a new Goldwing either. They're really expensive over here, but used ones you can get a pretty good deal on if you look around. Mr. Drone Bum, you're not supposed to crash motorcycles, or drones either for that matter of fact. You're not supposed to crash those things. Oh, I'm just kidding. I actually had an accident with my Mavic Pro, if you'll remember, and broke the camera on it. I had to replace it, but it works just as good as it ever did. Yeah, I bet those eyeballs do look cool on the Mavic 2 Pro. I've seen some of those that he sells. They are pretty intimidating. But yeah, it's something else. Well, I'm really hoping I can get out and do some of those pretty wildflowers in a day or so. Like this. These those wildflowers behind me are bluebonnets, the blue ones, and the little red ones are called Indian paintbrushes. But both of those bloom in the same places generally, but the bluebonnets come up before the Indian paintbrushes. Some places you'll see lots of bluebonnets, no Indian paintbrushes. Some places you see lots of Indian paintbrushes and no bluebonnets. But I've always enjoyed taking pictures of flowers and sunsets, and So anytime we have any good wildflowers around here, which doesn't happen every year, it depends on the rain. But when we do have, I take my wife out and we go out and hunt wildflowers and make videos and put them on YouTube. Well, I guess I've run my mouth off long enough. I think I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. I appreciate you stopping in. Hope I kept you from being too bored. Okay, well, I'm going to head out of here too, Michael Blade. Thanks all y'all for stopping in. See y'all next time I get wild and crazy, I guess. Take care.